So how is it already halfway through December? Crazy. I feel like they say as you get older, the years go by faster. Just time in general goes by faster, and that is correct. Whoever said that must be in STEM because that is scientifically correct. And I will say this year was pretty good. It was actually really good. And I will attribute a lot of that to Lexapro. Shout out to Big Pharma. But this will be the last episode of the year because Mommy's going to take some time off. But I will say when we start the new year, we're going to come in scorching hot. I got some silly ideas. We're just going to giggle. And we're going to learn. But we're going to giggle while we learn. So for the last episode, I thought it'd be fun if I got a psychic. If anyone knows me well, they know that I love anything in the supernatural. Maybe because I watched That's So Raven so much as a kid, so it's kind of like in my mitochondria. But I got to talk with Sansa Asylum. She calls herself a psychic. To be honest, I still don't really know what that means, but sounds pretty cool. She's just the best. I tried really hard not to ask her if she was picking up on anything in my world. Just because I feel like A, I don't pay these guests, and B, I might have to do that separately. Maybe I'll film it. Who knows? But she lets us into her world on what does it mean to be a psychic. I just want to know, what do they see? What do they hear? You know, how do they manage that in real life? And I know this may be a little controversial. I know a lot of people don't believe in psychics, and that's fine. You don't have to. You may listen to this episode and you may be, open to the idea. You may listen to this episode and be like, fuck that. But at the end of the day, you know what, as I say, everyone poops. And I would assume psychics poop too. Who knows? Also, my microphone on this episode is a little quiet. So we're learning, baby. We're learning! But a lot of you, I'm sure, have wanted me to shut the fuck up. So maybe that's a gift for some. Go in with an open mind and an open heart, and we're going to learn something together. Obviously, I have to shout out the gorgeous people at Leisure for sponsoring this podcast. They keep my whistle wet, moist. And it's just a gorgeous hydration beverage that has all the electrolytes, all the vitamins, and no caffeine, because Mommy can't do caffeine. Can't even do cacao nibs on an empty stomach without getting the jittery soos. So if you go to Amazon, use my code EPETROS10, come on code, for 10% off. And just stay hydrated. We're not here to be dry. So as our last episode of the year, please get yourself a little gingerbread cookie, a dreidel, who knows? And welcome to Emily Talks To. I'm honestly at a loss for words right now because I cannot believe I scored a psychic.
Aww.
So I'm just going to kind of jump right in. We have Miss Sansa here.
Hi.
And she's gorgeous. She's funny. She's present. I'm already locked in. And I don't know how we're going to get all these questions in, hopefully into 45 minutes.
We need like 4 sessions.
100%.
I'm happy to come back, but we'll try. We'll do our best.
Okay. So I want to just start off really quick. How are you right now in this moment?
Like IRL right now. I'm good. It is the holiday season, so I'm working a lot of events.
Okay.
Doing psychic readings and setting up these beautiful structures that I make. Mm-hmm. I just made myself like a really, really hard job that's really awesome.
Perfect.
And so I am tired and overwhelmed because it's been the holiday season and I've had a lot of wonderful events. I'm very grateful for that, but
okay.
It's been a lot. But I feel grounded and grateful. I'm like really happy to be here at the moment.
Well, I'm
this morning I was like,
yeah,
but
chaos.
I'm okay.
Well, we're here. We made it.
Yeah, it feels good in here.
Love. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're going to go back in time a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How old were you when you knew you had these abilities?
Right. So as I told you before when we were kind of prefacing, as I was saying, like, kids' brains, they naturally normalize everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had all kinds of strange experiences, but I just thought it was normal.
Okay.
And there, for instance, my grandma, Sansa the Second, and Sansa the Third, she had this crystal ball. It was like a prop from Vegas or something.
So she was not psychic herself.
Well, Sansa the First was, for sure.
Okay, got it.
We only have 45 minutes. Okay, so when I was a little kid, I had all kinds of strange psychic experiences. The thing that I remember the most was just constantly staring into Sansa the Second's crystal ball.
Okay.
And I felt, and I just knew deep inside that if I stared into that crystal ball, that I could see, feel, know, and understand absolutely everything at any point in time from anywhere in the universe. And I was fascinated. Insane. Yeah, but as a kid, I just, I also thought that like monsters were real. I think they are. But I also thought that like Santa Claus was real, who's not. And so
she's like, I know all the answers to the universe, and also Santa's coming down the chimney.
Yeah. And also Santa's bringing me presents, and all I have to do is feed him cookies.
Okay.
So all I'm saying is, like, when you're a kid, our brains normalize everything. So all of the strange, cool, psychic, fantastical experiences I had, I just thought they were normal. I didn't know I was psychic until the moment about 15 years ago, maybe a bit more, when I sat down with clients for the first time and just got a bunch of clairvoyant information. Whoa. And that information was sent to me to help those people.
So then did you feel like you had a pretty normal childhood? Like, did you have to kind of manage these abilities you had while also assimilating into like normal?
I was a very emotional and troubled child because of some very adverse childhood experiences that I went through that had nothing to do with being psychic.
Okay.
I think that sometimes kids who went through what I did, and a lot of kids went through what I did, end up being even more psychic because you have to constantly feel out the emotions and energy of your abusers to make sure that they're not going to abuse you. I'm sorry, guys, this just got dark, but this is just another aspect of what made me extra psychic. And this is something that we know happens to children a lot. Like, I had adverse experiences, but they also made me, for better or for worse, like much, 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 much more in tune with people. Like, if I'm in the psychic space, and I'm not always in the psychic space, that would suck. If I take my time to meditate, get in the psychic space, I can not only feel people's emotions, I get very clear images and feelings, words, just inner knowing of what is going on with them, what's happened, what's going to happen.
Whoa.
That's kind of another story. I don't believe in a fixed future. I don't really believe in fortune telling, but
so you're saying what you see may change? Like, if someone takes that information,
this is why we need like 4 days
to do this. Yeah.
So how I always explain it is I don't believe in a fixed future. One caveat, there are some things I see that I feel are quote unquote written. Okay. Meaning maybe they are kind of a fixed future. I see some things that are written, like they've been so created on the energetic plane, that they are just gonna happen. Like they're already happening the way that I see it. Those things I feel are written, and sometimes I will say with surety, like, I see this happening, I see this person already here, and it just has to happen. It just has to, but other than that, I always explain that really good psychics are more like weather predictors, that we can, weather people, have it down to a science where they can say, like, okay, the jet stream's going this way, this is going this way, so most likely this is going to happen. Okay. And that's kind of what good psychics do intuitively, in a process that takes just a split second. We go, okay, this is how things are going, and I'm seeing this happening, and I'm seeing this happening, and what I feel is that this is the most probable, and I feel like this is what is going to happen if you keep going in this direction, type of thing.
So you're seeing things. Are you seeing images? Are you seeing words? Are you hearing things? Yeah. Okay, so it's a combination of like
that
how you're deciphering
mixed with a feeling of absolute knowing.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that is called clairvoyance, just to put it the most basically. Clairsentience. Sentience is just knowing.
Okay.
You just know.
And you have that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Clairvoyance is seeing images, but it also comes with clairsentience. You can't just see an image because that image could be interpreted in a million different ways. You have to also check it with spirit or, you know, whoever you talk to. Another long story. And say, okay, what does this mean? What is this? What are you showing me and why? And what do you want this person to know? What's the point here? And then you just get this knowing. And it's so amazing.
Whoa.
So moving.
So do
and then clairaudience is hearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do mediums fall into that category?
So when you say the word medium, that's usually someone who believes that they are talking to the dead.
Right.
I used to do mediumship before I had my change about a year ago.
Okay.
Where my eyes were open to some things. And I found out that when you talk to the spirit realm, which is not who I talk to anymore. Ding, ding, ding. This is like kind of the big kicker here. Again, we need like 4 weeks. Okay. Anyway, I'll try to make this really short. So, I found out, you know, I used to do mediumship all day long. I loved doing mediumship because I would talk to bereaved people and grandma would come on the line, you know, on my psychic line.
Sure.
And she would be like I saw what like uncle's favorite milkshake was. And I saw that he'd been in the military and that he was in heaven drinking his favorite milkshake with his military buddies and he was happy. And people, of course, like I would be, they were just sobbing, you know, because they were like, how did you know that? That must really be them. And then when that ghost is like, and I love you and everything's okay and I forgive you for this or that, it's very healing.
Totally.
And that's why a lot of mediums, you know, unless they're crooks, like that's why good mediums love doing what they're doing. But I found out this year that I found out the hard way this year that when you talk to the spirit realm, we are not supernatural beings. We're just humans. So we don't get to say, I'm going to open up this door to the spirit realm and only grandma can talk to me. There are spirits who will come in and pretend to be grandma.
Ooh.
Or Uncle Joey or, you know.
Spooky.
Or your passed on brother Peter. Yeah, it is very spooky. The spirit realm, the hard thing that I learned this year that I've been trying to share with all of my psychic friends. I still hire psychics who use tarot cards and talk to the spirit realm and don't understand what they're doing the way that I do now. Well, so I found out this year that you know, we don't get to choose who we are talking to and who comes through that door when we open a door to the spirit realm. Yeah, if you open a door to the spirit realm, literally anything can come through. It's just like, it's basically everything is a Ouija board. I always say give it the Ouija board test, you know? Yeah. We know not to use a Ouija board because we've all seen the horror movies. The Ouija board opens a door to the spirit realm and anything can come through. You don't just get to say, you'll try to talk to grandma and the next thing you know, you have a poltergeist or whatnot. Terrifying. Right? That's just a Ouija board. That's literally a Milton Bradley game. Anything can be a Ouija board. Okay. You know, anything can be. If that can open a door to the spirit realm, just imagine. I'm like trying to sway you now. Just imagine what else can be a door. Tarot cards, stuff like that. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when I was doing mediumship, I was opening a door. And there were some spirits who were pretending to be other spirits. Same with, I used to be just, this is the only thing I miss. I was so good at palm readings. So good.
You don't do it anymore.
No, because you just don't know what's going to come through. Okay. I only talk to one thing now. And that is spirit, aka God, which is a very complicated subject because I was completely anti-religion as a kid. The person who abused me when I was a kid was of the church. He was a man of the church. So I grew up being like, screw religion, screw anything having to do with that. And now I just saw that there's the spirit realm, and that's tricky. There's some good things in the spirit realm for sure, but there's also a lot of very bad things. And unfortunately, we're not supernatural beings, so we don't get to choose what comes through and what doesn't come through. So you're opening yourself up and also everybody that you're reading up to spirits that can come through and cause havoc. And I found out the hard way. I almost lost my life this year because of it. Oof. And I was so scared, you know, I needed to just stop using tarot cards, start
Protect
just
you a little
talking.
bit.
I always thought that I'd just been talking to God, but actually I was talking to all these other things too. You know, I just luckily I'm like really, really psychic. So I was able to just see and discern more than most psychics that I know can.
So different psychics use different sources. Is that what I'm gathering? Like,
Yes. And most of the time, we don't always know what these sources are because the spirit realm, although it can be really fun to read from the spirit realm, and everybody's so fascinated with the spirit realm, it is very, very tricky.
so
Very deceptive.
are there tiers? Am I understanding that? There's like the spirit realm, which is one tier, and then God or source or that is sitting above the spirit realm?
That is such an interesting question, Emily. So actually, this is going to sound so weird, and I haven't even told anybody about this before, but I'm telling you and all of your listeners now. So
we also just met today. For anyone that we've
literally
never
just
had
met.
any other exchanges, so this is exciting.
Welcome to this world. So when I'm sitting at my little table and I'm doing readings, I always say my prayer and I kind of set up my space, and I don't know why, but on my right side, I don't know if you guys can see this, but on my whole right side, that's where like the spirit realm, everything sits. And then on my left side and up is where God sits, and like God's people are over here.
Whoa.
And after I had my scary, crazy experiences, which would take another 2 hours to explain this year, and realized that I needed to close the door on the spirit realm and just talk to them, and I had to do a whole clearing / like exorcism on myself, basically.
Whoa.
I mean, this stuff is real.
Yeah,
You do not want to play around with the spirit realm.
Yeah, I'm good.
You do not want to.
I feel like reality itself is enough. Like, I can't imagine having some little demon coming in and just fucking everything up.
It's a lot, and it's subtle. It can be subtle. For me, it was subtle until I tried to close the door, and then it was absolutely not subtle, and I had to like fight for my life.
So you're saying how do I say this? You have the ability to close those things off. Like, can you turn off your abilities? Are those two separate questions maybe?
Those are two separate questions.
So with like the bad spirits that were coming in, you have the ability to kind of close that off.
With the help of the right spirit, which some people would call God, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
I do have to call on God. So that's why I really got closer with God, which is a very complicated topic for me, as well as many other people.
Because I feel like in a lot of organized religions, clairvoyancy is actually like...
Clairvoyancy is completely frowned upon, although there is the thing called prophetic readers in the Christian church, and I don't identify as Christian, although God is like my buddy, right? There is a thing called prophetic readers in the Christian religion, which are people who do exactly what I do, but just aren't like tattooed psychic weirdos.
So they
who used to play accordion in the circus. You know, they're like button-up sweater wearing like Christians, you know. Nothing against button-up sweater wearing Christians. Some of them are my friends, but
that's their thing.
That's prophetic readers. They talk to God and they speak prophecy.
Can you ever turn this off? Or is it always...
I don't walk around psychic.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I'm always a psychic. I think all of us are always psychic because we're like walking antennas, you know, of energy and stuff. Period. No, I don't walk around open. That would suck so much.
Oh, yeah.
To do a psychic reading, I prepare. I give myself at least an hour before the reading, and I'll do at least a solid 15 minutes of prayer and meditation to get into the space.
Okay.
And like I told you before the session, sometimes I'll like take a little bit of 5-HTP and drink a Celsius, drink like some...
Just get wired up a little bit?
Yeah, really get in the zone. Like it takes... that didn't sound good, but it takes preparation to get in the zone.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's not something that I would just sit down and do. It also is dangerous to just sit down and do it. You know, there's a lot of, there's all kinds of like crackpot psychics and weird tarot readers and new agey hippie people, but doing readings all the time. But it's a big, big responsibility to do readings and to give spiritual guidance, and especially because I talk directly to God. People sit down, they ask me a question. I literally just ask God that question and I hear the answer and I give them the answer. That's a prophetic reading, and that's literally what I'm doing.
You're just kind of the conduit.
Yes. Also, sorry to make this more complicated, but also I get that information from God. And also I don't talk to the spirit realm, but I do talk to that person's spirit. And I just can't help it.
Is that what you mean? Like they're talking?
So if a person sits down, like, I'm not going to do it right now, but if I'm looking at you and we're doing a reading and I'm in the space, I'm like trying to not make it happen right now. Go away. I had to burp. Okay. If you and I were doing a session right now and I was looking at you and I was in the space, I would be immediately getting information, words, and pictures from your spirit telling me what you need, who you are, what you do, and what's the best way to do this reading.
Okay.
And that just gives me information that helps me to ask God the right question for them.
Got it.
And you would have already told me your question, like, does Joey love me or whatever?
How do you hear me and this? How are you not going insane?
It's a lot. It's fascinating and it's amazing. It's an amazing process.
Whoa.
How do I do it? It's just like playing the guitar.
Yeah.
You know, some of it obviously I was born with, but it's taken a lot of practice over the last 15 years, and I've done thousands and thousands of hours of psychic readings, and it's just like playing the guitar, you know, like if you pick up a Stratocaster for the first time and you go, and you try to like play a Jimi Hendrix solo, you're not going to, but 10 years later, you're going to be like, you're going to be Joe Satriani if you want.
You get better with time.
You know, that's how. And if you're like someone who can't play a note and you see someone being like just shredding, you'd be like, wow, how do you do that? That's magic.
Right.
You know, and it is magic, but it's a lot of practice. But you know, I'm beyond most psychics because I got good at it, but then I started discerning between what is what and who is who. And I cannot tell you and the world how important that is to be able to discern and to not just constantly be opening the door to all of these yucky things. And those yucky things, I mean, let me put it this way. So when I was first learning discernment this year, I was able to sit right here, ask a question and get an answer from God and an answer from the spirit realm.
At the same time?
Yes, for the same question.
Do they have the same answer?
I am not making this up. No. I was able to finally compare and contrast. The answer from the spirit realm was always like so fakely empathetic and fake caring. Like, for instance, I won't go into it too much, but like, for instance, there was this one really sweet kid who asked me like, am I gonna get this job? And it was one of the first parties where I wasn't using tarot cards anymore, you know, and I just was doing it full clairvoyant. I had barely used the tarot cards before. I mostly did them full clairvoyant, but I always had the cards there because clients wanted that. So I just didn't have them there at all. And I was kind of new to the discernment thing. And I got an answer from the spirit realm about whether or not they were going to get the job. And I got an answer from God. And they were both different answers, completely different. But the one from the spirit realm was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like so fake caring and compassion. It was literally like, I'm so sorry. You know, I know you worked really hard for this. Like, you're not going to get, it was a promotion, not a job. A promotion, a job. You're not going to get the promotion this time. But if you just keep trying, you will.
And God was like, surprise, bitches.
God, I won't go into God's, that it was completely different and it was very God and it was very straightforward and just not that answer. Like that answer was wrong. And when I said, and the one from God didn't even make sense to me, but I just said it verbatim. And the person was like, oh my God, that's perfect. That's exactly how I feel. Oh my God, thank you so much. That like, I feel so validated. I feel so strong. I feel so everything now. Like, you know, and that's what the readings are supposed to do. They're supposed to build people up. They're supposed to guide them into their right path. They're supposed to, and this is what people are looking for. That's what they want, but they don't, most people don't know, A, that they're talking to the spirit realm or God or which is which, B, that the spirit realm will tell them the wrong thing 90% of the time. And that God, which again is a very complicated subject for me, just as much as anybody else, will tell them the right thing. We'll give them literally what they want. Okay. It's just God isn't sexy like the spirit realm.
Okay, then not to get dark, but I have friends or I've heard people who are like, you know, I don't want to see a psychic because what if they say I'm going to die, or what if they say I'm going to get sick, or can you see when people are going to die? Do you see those things and just choose not to say them?
So I have 2 rules when I do readings, and one is don't ask me when you're going to die.
Okay. That's like a very
because people love asking that.
Yeah.
14-year-old boys love asking me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ask me when you're going to die. I'm not going to tell you. And also don't ask me to have a conversation with a passed on person. Okay. I'll ask God how that person is doing. Like I'll ask God about that person, which is still kind of complicated, but I won't talk to that person because I don't do mediumship anymore because we don't know if that is really that person talking, and it's not safe for any of us to go there.
Got it.
So but for some reason I can talk to the person's spirit who's right in front of me, which is still, I'm a little bit conflicted about that, but it just works so well and it just happens naturally. And I feel like God and I kind of do that together.
So you may get some information that you decide, I'm just not going to disclose this.
I don't see a lot of really dark stuff. Normally what I get, I've never seen when somebody's going to die because I've never asked. Yeah. And nobody's allowed to ask me.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. It's a little spooky.
People with terminal illnesses I've done readings for, and I've seen, their decline, but mostly what I get are like, if the answer that I get is about something that's hard, some issue, it's always, how can we do this better? What can we do to make this better? What's the silver lining? What's the purpose? What's the meaning?
You bring some light into it.
It's literally guidance from God, It's not going to be death and terror. Yeah. If you get an answer from the spirit realm, it could be. I used to go to psychics a lot before I realized that I don't trust psychics. And I just woke up in bed this morning with like my love of my life, my wonderful boyfriend, who I've been with for a couple years. I think he's going to propose to me soon.
Uh-oh.
And all my friends.
See that?
I did, and I can't tell you about it.
You're lying.
Because he doesn't know yet. I can't tell you about it.
So you are probably the hardest person to throw a surprise party
to date.
for.
Oh, yes, that too.
There's no surprises.
Well, that's another subject. But so I about the spirit realm though, like I woke up and talking to psychics who talk to the spirit realm and don't know who they're talking to and don't know what they're doing, but believe in themselves falsely. They have a false sense of like power. There's a school that I started going to over 15 years ago called the Berkeley Psychic Institute. And I did a lot of psychic classes there, and it was helpful in developing just some basic tools that helped me survive, as a psychic. But I went back there, the last few years, I would call them, they have a psychic hotline. And some of them are good. Some of them were horrible and just believed in their powers so much and told me completely wrong information. And now I see where that information was coming from.
Okay.
It was coming from like the darker parts of the spirit realm. And I woke up this morning next to like the love of my life, so happy, so secure for the first time in my life. I have been through it with men.
You've kissed some frogs.
And people. I mean, I've been bi, so it's been everybody. I've been through it with everybody.
Oh, geez.
Of every walk of life. My boyfriend doesn't hear this. Anyway, I woke up next to just the love of my life, so happy. And I suddenly remembered, I was thinking about our podcast today, and I suddenly remembered like 5 different sessions I had with this one psychic lady from Berkeley Institute. Okay. Berkeley Psychic Institute. Excuse me. I hate it when people make weird sounds with their mouths on the microphone.
Oh, smack those lips, girl. We're good. I'm sipping my
No, I hate
drink.
smack. I just did it again. Oh no.
That's okay.
I'm my worst nightmare now. What else is new? So I woke up and I just remembered some stuff that lady said.
Was it?
It was like his work is always going to be more important. He's already emotionally left you and he's never coming back, and this was like a year ago when I have a lot of PTSD from old relationships, abuse, all sorts of things that I won't get into. And so my first year or so with my current boyfriend was really hard for me to just calm down and feel safe. And now it's 2 years later and I've calmed down and I feel safe. Yes, girl.
That.
I think we all do.
Some grounding, safe.
It was after a couple years of EMDR therapy, which I will be certified in at some point in the future, because I'm in school to be a licensed marriage and family therapist right now.
Love.
Yeah. So I do deserve it because I worked hard for it. But also I just, I prayed to God and wanted to be sent the right guy, and I was sent the right guy, and he's wonderful. Here we are. And I woke up this morning, last night we were talking about what house we were going to move into together and
dreams,
all that stuff. Yeah. And this morning I woke up and I was just flooded with all these terrible memories of what this lady said.
Okay, fuck that lady.
Now I know. At the time I was like, I think this is not true.
Yeah.
But I had so much PTSD and I was just so used to things being really good and then going absolutely terrible that I was like, I guess she could be right though. Like, what do I know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now a year later, here I am, and it just now I can confirm that it was not true. He's,
Wow. So some psychics are phony, or maybe just pulling from a different.
She was not phony.
Okay.
She was getting information from God knows where.
Okay.
And she was so sure of herself, so sure of it. And it's just like what I said, where like I was able to see the answer from the spirit realm and the answer from God to the same question that I asked. And God's answer was very helpful, very guiding. I don't want to be that guy. It was very helpful, very guiding, and very building up of people. And the one from the spirit realm seemed really caring.
I mean, this
but
sounds like a catty bitch. The spirit realm just sounds like, sorry, but they sound
so sorry. It's so funny because it's true. And it's so much and it's so powerful and it's way beyond anything that even our human brains can comprehend.
Right.
This force, this whole thing.
Yeah, I'm trying so hard. I'm like,
it's not even, I talk to it every day and it's not even comprehensible because our human brains literally can only go so far,
Right.
And I think that's kind of a good thing for us.
Yeah, we need a little boundary.
Yeah, we need boundaries for sure. That's why I don't walk around psychic. I would die. I would implode or explode. I'd probably implode and explode at the same time.
Yeah, just contract and
Yeah, but F the spirit realm. Don't come after me. There's some great spirits out there, but we don't get to choose who comes through.
Got it.
And a lot of witchy people will feel like they have the power to choose and they're in control and we're not in control. Either they're in control or God's a supernatural being that has more control.
Got it.
Right.
Well, so then if you don't mind me asking, this may be a dumb question, but how do you deal
There's
with...
no such thing as dumb questions with this.
Okay. How do you deal with skeptics who say, well, how come you don't know the lottery numbers? How come you're not a...
Oh my God. You mean all the 60-year-old men that come up to me at events and just say stupid stuff like that? So
how come you don't know everything then?
Yeah. So when I do readings, maybe somebody could. Maybe somebody could. I can't. I would love to. Of course I would do that. I would do that immediately if I could. And I would give the money to people who need it, and have a nice place to live and not work and be miserably tired all the time. Of course I would. I get that. Why don't I? Because the information that I get is there to help people. Maybe I just should try more to get the lottery numbers or something, but I just don't get information like that.
Got it.
And I don't really get to choose what information I get. It's up to them. The types of questions that I do day in, day out are what should I be focusing on right now? How is my business that I'm creating gonna do? Where am I at in my what episode of my soul's purpose am I in right now? Stuff that's emotional, meaningful, important, empowering, stuff like that.
Not Powerball.
Not give me the lottery numbers. It just doesn't work that way for me. I'm sorry that it doesn't. I wish it did.
Yeah. So then do you ever get couples who come together?
I love doing couples readings.
Well, and they're they are holding hands and they're so cuddly, and then inside you're like, uh-oh, this isn't gonna work.
It's only happened a few times, honestly.
Okay.
And
did you say something?
The The first time it happened was one of the first couples readings I did
Shit.
ages ago. And I immediately saw that the man was cheating. Immediately. And did I say anything? No, because I was at an event and I was hired to entertain by doing psychic readings. Well, I started using double speak.
Okay.
Which is easier when I'm in the psychic space because it's a very like intuitive thing. And he knew exactly what I was talking about. And the wife had no idea. And he was literally sweating and stammering.
No.
And I was like, okay, that's your reading. Bye. And he was like, ugh. Like he
You're
knew.
like saying the women's names like Jessica.
Basically.
No,
you know, this was a long time ago. I don't really remember. Another time, there was this beautiful, beautiful woman who just had no idea that her husband was cheating on her. And he wasn't there. He wasn't there because, as she said, he worked for Netflix and he had to work every single morning, all night into the morning, and was never home and blah, 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 working for Netflix.
Damn.
And I felt so bad for her. And I didn't, again, like that time I was also at an event, you know, and so I'm not going to be like, oh, he's cheating on you. I can see the woman. I can see blah, 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 you know.
Sure.
No, instead I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Oh my God.
And I gave her a bunch of questions to ask him. I gave her a list of 4 questions to ask him.
Yeah, make her kind of.
Because she was a little bit worried, but I was like, oh, do you think he's not home? I mean, is he really? Do you think he's like cheating or something? She was like, oh, no, I don't think that. And I saw it. Like, I already knew. Like, so I was like, okay, well, you know, I answered her question, which was not, was he cheating? It was something else. Oh, she was pregnant with his child. She was sitting there like 8 months pregnant. Yeah, it was too much. Okay. It's too much. So I gave her 4 questions to ask him that would let him know that the psychic absolutely knew what was going on and would make him sweat balls. And I never am going to know what happened.
Sure.
But that was what I did in that instance. There are times I love doing couples readings because I can really see and feel so much and get so much done. A lot of the best thing that happens with couples readings is I help the man to get to a place where he feels like he can be heard and understood, because men tend to feel trampled on and not listened to, and you know, they just feel really invalidated. So do women, obviously, but I just get them to a place where they're ready to communicate on a deeper level, and the man feels like supported by his partner in a way that he needs. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be a great licensed marriage and family therapist someday. And the worst thing that I see, other than those 2 horrible things that happened, is just one partner, quite often the male, but not always the male, will just be not as into it as the other one. You know, the other one's like, I'm here, let's work, let's do this. And the other one's like,
kind of pulling away a little bit.
Yeah, they're kind of like, what time is it?
Sure.
Where else could I be right now? You know,
Ugh.
Kind of. It's all so subtle.
Okay.
And so freaking fascinating. I just love it.
So fun.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a trippy one, but if time is a human construct, how can you decipher events happening in some sort of chronological order?
It's just how I see them.
So do you see like
time is a construct,
right?
God told me one time, it was last New Year's, I was driving back from an event with my boyfriend who helped me like set up, and I was like, babe, I still feel like I'm super in the psychic realm right now. Will you just like ask me a question and I'll answer it? And, you know, just for fun. We had a really long drive back, and he was like, okay, what is time? Does it really exist? And I asked God, and I went on this whole journey. I was like crying with the answer. Time really does not exist. And the fact of it is something that we cannot comprehend with our human minds, because it's out of the bounds of what our human minds are able to comprehend. But God gets it.
Yeah, I'm not going to sleep for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And the only thing that really exists truly is love. And I saw it as like a tiny glint in every person's eye who had it. Yeah, I was like crying.
How are you sitting here as a functioning human being?
That is such a good question.
Like, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to get at Trader Joe's.
My mother would probably tell you that I'm not functional, but she doesn't know.
We'll have her on here next time. We'll chat with her. We'll chat with Mom. Okay, whoa.
That would be so interesting. yeah, to answer your question, I just see it and I go like, oh, let's see, where is this on the timeline? Oh, this is in the next year to 2 years,
So you
or
can
4 to
feel it.
6 months
Okay.
ish. Then again, I don't believe in a completely fixed future. So I think when I see something on a timeline, that can change depending on what we do every day. You know,
Okay.
what we do changes the future, obviously.
Right. So with each episode, I do a little bit of word association. So I'm going to give you 5 words, and then just tell me the...
Everything is just going to be like penis.
Yep. Love it. Perfect. With every word, it can be a person, a phrase, literally anything that comes to mind.
Okay.
Crystal ball.
Mood. Like mood ring? That's what came up.
Sure.
I like that.
Love. Angel numbers.
55.
Wait, I always see 555.
Are you serious?
I always
oh
see
gosh,
fives.
being psychic is so weird.
I know.
So random.
Aura.
555. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Aura. Christine.
Love Christine. Blue-footed booby.
Baseball bat.
Perfect. ShamWow.
Nice.
Perfect. I love those.
That was really fun. Can I do one for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I've never had this done.
Pennsylvania.
Picturesque.
Oh, that's nice. Kind of alliteration here. Thriving Latin music.
Sign me up. I love it.
Okay, one more.
Okay.
Leadership.
Let's go. Wow, I love
You're
flipping
just like
the tables.
you're ready to work. You're
Yeah,
ready.
I'm all frontal lobe right
That's
now.
what those associations told me.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Mine just felt really random.
So, I think we talked about this a little bit. Are there bad psychics out there? Like, are there some that, like, when I drive around and I see the ones, like the little dinker store shops with like the blue fluorescent lighting, I get a little spooky dooky feeling inside.
I feel like you can feel it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say.
Okay. Can they like put a hex on you? Is that a bad thing to say?
Okay, so, I mean, can anybody put a hex on you? You know, if you're protected by the right spirit, which in my opinion is only one, but it, you know, whatever you believe in, if you're protected by the right spirit, can anybody put a hex on you? Maybe not. That's another issue. But the psychics, a lot of those psychics, like you'll just walk in and you'll just get like an ick feeling.
Yeah.
And they have those like piercing eyes because like they're trying to get something from you.
Ooh.
You know, I don't know if you've experienced that. So this is one of those instances where like there's a really good chance that they're not doing prophetic readings and just talking to God. There's a really good chance that they've got like the whole spirit realm thing going on.
Okay.
I mean, most likely, but you can't really say that about everybody, but most likely. And they just have all kinds of yucky stuff coming through their readings that could absolutely come in and mess up your life in subtle or even not so subtle ways.
Oof.
I would be really careful with that. I don't trust most psychics. I'm a little bit conflicted because I still have this event entertainment business where I hire a lot of psychics, including myself, but all my friends still use tarot cards, angel cards, and if I hire somebody, I have a policy they have to listen to my whole story, and then I say, I know it's not your thing, but just be open to this coming to light for you as well.
Okay.
Be open to this discernment thing happening and your life changing. Just be open to that, right? But they're still using cards and everything. And I know that the different tools, I love tarot cards. I love them, but they channel dark energies, whether you want to or not. They're beautiful. There's some really cool stuff in there.
Okay.
You know, but they channel dark energies. And I mean, anybody who opens those doors, that's what's going to come through.
Can anyone be clairvoyant? Like, could anyone pick up a tarot card deck? I mean, I know that's, I guess, using a different medium.
Right, but I mean, could anybody
like, are we all born
get
clairvoyant?
psychic information if they kind of went through the right motions? Honestly, I think so.
Okay.
I
We
think
all
so.
have the ability, maybe.
I think so.
Okay.
But I haven't really tried it out on like a large population of people. I haven't been able to experiment.
Okay.
I'd love to.
That's fun.
Also, like they've done a lot of experiments to see if people are psychic, but a lot of those experiments were done by people who were like trying to get the right numbers or cards, and that's just not the kind of information that we usually get.
Got it.
You know, so those like who's psychic? Is everybody psychic? Experiments don't really work because that's just a whole different thing. Like
Is it
like the Zener cards. Oh yeah.
So like some people can maybe be on one side of the spectrum where it's more like intuitive, maybe. This is weird, but I used to know exactly where the $1 million box was on Deal or No Deal when I was a kid. Like that was my most niche. I could just pick it out just from looking.
Maybe you'd be able to get lottery numbers if you really tried. I don't think I'll ever be able to get lottery numbers. Maybe that's your thing, though. Let's do it. Sure. I'll only take 25%.
Perfect. But I mean, I can't hear spirits speaking to me. So
I don't think you really want to.
Yeah, I'm good. You know? I think I'm good.
Sometimes I hear God, though. I like it when I hear God.
What's the voice sound like? Is it a woman?
Blah, blah, blah. It literally sounds like a person. God is actually a person.
Whoa.
And again, complicated subject for me and many people. The God that I have experienced through my own experience, not through the Bible, not through people telling me about it, is an awesome person who just is so loving and so just there for me, you know? And I have a lot of questions like, okay, then why can't you stop kids from getting killed in Gaza? You know, stuff like that. It's very complicated and I don't have the answers, but I do know this person very well through my own personal relationship, right?
Is he single? Does he want to hook up?
I think, you know, let me ask. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
He's probably celibate.
I have no idea. Wait, what was the question that led up to that? What was I answering with that?
Does everyone have the ability to be clairvoyant? Like, is it a spectrum?
No, it was after that. It is absolutely a spectrum.
Yeah.
But I think that you can develop your skills over a very long period of time and be somewhere else on the spectrum.
Huh.
It's not like autism.
Sure.
It is a spectrum, like gender and autism.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Different. Okay.
Yeah, because it's an ability. It's like playing guitar. You're not on the spectrum of being able to play guitar.
Right.
Because your body and your brain and your energy and your things are the instruments, right? So you're just kind of playing those instruments. Like when I read energy, it literally feels like I'm kind of reading a book, but by sensing it. It's really cool. It's so cool. It's so cool and yet so dangerous. And I don't know.
You sound very responsible, though. You sound like you paid your dues. You've been through
I try.
muck.
It's still walking a fine line.
Yeah.
You know, especially because my only job is doing psychic readings with private clients and at events. And so I do a lot of it. And when you're doing hours and hours of readings at a very loud event, there might be a time where I'm just not being present enough, and maybe I get a little information from the psychic realm and it comes out of my mouth and I mislead someone, lead somebody astray, or let some energy into their life that's not good. You know, it's possible. And I get hired for a lot of children's parties. Like, oh my God. I mean, mostly adult parties, but I get like, you know, some kids parties, like mystical tarot card themed kids parties. Like there's a lot of those these days.
That's so LA.
And I love doing counseling and readings with kids. I love it. But it's walking a fine line, you know. I think it's dangerous.
Be controversial, but I feel like it also there may be some responsibility on the client as well to understand, you know, take things with a grain of salt, maybe protect their energy a little bit. Like, I wouldn't want all of the pressure to be on you, to be like, you have to heal, tell me all the truths, tell me what's going to happen.
This is why I like doing events more than I have a lot of private clients, but I do more events because it's less liability and I'm literally billed as entertainment. Like my business license is event entertainment.
Got it.
You know?
Yeah, I'm not saying that to discredit
and I do also have insurance.
Perfect.
But there's a lot less liability. Cross my titties. Yeah. That's what I thought you said. You said cross my titties.
Honestly.
Speaking of crossing my titties, you know, when I'm a marriage and family therapist, I will not be legally allowed to do anything psychic, and I'll have much more comprehensive insurance.
And so much more energy for yourself.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to get up in the morning. I'm just going to work 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. 5 days a week in my bunny slippers.
Oh, obsessed.
You know, on telehealth and just love life.
Yeah.
The rest of the day, I'll make magic, play accordion, hang out with my friends, you know. It's
going to be amazing.
Dinner parties, sew clothing, just do all the other stuff I want to do.
Yeah. Well, so then I close out every episode with the same question. And it is, what's something that you wish more people understood about you?
About me personally? That seems so self-centered, but I just, I've been sitting here talking about myself this whole time. So I guess it's just time to be self-centered. I think the same thing that I think a lot of people need is I wish that without me having to tell people, because I don't ever like to tell people what I've been through or my history, because I feel like they'll judge me or see me as like a victim, which I'm absolutely not. I wish that without me having to say anything, that everybody would just know how much I've been through and how much I've overcome, to the point where most people could never even imagine how much I've overcome and the strength and the work that it took to get there. And that they would just be really kind and gentle with me and my heart, and also very respectful.
That's beautiful.
That's what I wish. And I will probably never have that, because we don't see people like that. It's just kind of a harsher world that we live in. And in order to have that understanding, we need to tell each other.
Yeah.
But I don't want to tell people what I've been through, and most survivors don't.
You just wish people were a little bit more gracious with
respectful. Well, I think if we actually knew everybody's histories, like if we looked at somebody and just like had like a readout, or something, we'd be like,
oh my God, she's been through some
wow.
shit.
Yeah. And she's also done this and that, saved a kid from a burning building, stuff like that. We would be like very respectful of that person and very kind and gentle with their heart, and like very graceful of them and their mistakes and stuff like that,
More love, baby.
Of everybody. But we don't see people that way. We like have a hard day and are like, honk, honk, get the fuck out of my way. Get the F out of my way,
Right. We project a lot of our own shit onto each other.
Yeah, it's just a different world. So yeah, if anybody, if people could know and understand something about me, it would be that. But I would want that for everybody. I think the world would just be amazing. But then we might see like the messed up stuff they did too, the bad stuff, and be like, ew.
Sure.
But you know what? It serves them right.
Yeah. Hey. Oh my goodness. Well, you are a gift. I honestly couldn't even ask all my questions because we're out of time, but we're going to have to do a sequel.
I would love that. Yeah, we can always do a sequel.
Yeah. Thank you. And I will link your website so people can book you and just get to know you. And you're a dream. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Also, you can just Google Sansa Asylum. Yeah. See what comes up. It's all there.
Yeah, she's there, baby.